This random Widow strat dominated one of the best teams in the world. Here's how they did it. On day 1 of Grand Finals, Crazy Raccoon had the displeasure of playing the 4th ranking team in the world. And in this meta dominated by mobility and sustain, they picked... So get ready for some crazy headshots, clutch kicks, and a potential new way to counter this meta. As you can see, the Widow value was instant. Who'd have thought the one-shot hitscan character would be strong when nobody knows you're on the one-shot hitscan character? Heck, it even shocked the casters. Listen to this.
Home court advantage from Angelina Asgard. Look, there's the pick.
This entry pick on Adam Warlock is extremely important because it does 2 things. 1, the Adam Warlock passive is gone, and 2, it forces the enemy Angela to turn around and look in the direction of the danger, aka the Widow. And as you continue to play out the fight, you realize the first reason why Black Widow is busted in this comp. Her kick ability stuns dive characters in place, and if you look at where the Widow chooses to play, almost in the middle of her team, you're going to die 9 out of 10 times. Now, thankfully, Tanuki is on the character that has flight and a massive shield, making him 1 out of 10. The rare, the unlikely survivor of this dreaded interaction. So he actually ends up living, backing out, seeing his team, having a party. Happy days. But it's not happy days though, is it, Cuffy? Nope. No, it's not. You're absolutely right. I would actually say this is sad days. The reason why is because his team actually reacts by going into a standard defensive position. We call this structure a bunker. This is the concept of everyone grouping up. The damage goes towards the people that deal damage on the enemy team, but most importantly, all of the cooldowns are being used to help each other live. And from Citadel's perspective, they are largely looking to avoid being spotted by the Black Widow because they'll die. But little do they know, this is just stage 1 to the Crazy Raccoon strategy. The caster Got Moxie explains this comp extremely well on point 2, but this is my video, so I guess it's time for a Cuffy Quickie. And before you get excited, this is just a segment where I attempt to explain a comp in 30 seconds or less. Trust me, it's gonna be great. There's gonna be a theme song and everything, kinda like Career Ladder but better because I'm anti-job. You may have noticed that Crazy Raccoons are running one singular tank with a Mantis in 2-2-2. A very risky move. Not. The reason why this works is because the comp operates in 3 major characters. Wolverine's control works like this. Widow's control, especially with a Mantis, works like this. Enemies will then back up into a safe space like we just established, which allows Star-Lord to do this. But now when you consider what map it is, it's Idrisil's path, which means that it's convoy, and if you study pro play or even if you just watch it as an enjoyer, you would know that the main intention of convoy in pro play is to stall the cart. It's very hard to stall the cart when you're hiding, bruv. But at least that means there's no more of that spawn holding bullshit. As you can imagine, with this pretty complex strategy, Crazy Raccoon won first fight pretty quickly. And I'm also pretty sure they banned out Doctor Strange, which means Citadel could not get a TP recontest. This triggered Tanuki, who is formerly their Angela player, to go to his preferred role, damage, as we see him swap back to a Daredevil pick. Other than Tanuki just being an all-round great Daredevil player, I don't think the difference between Daredevil and Angela is that much. Both very mobile, both should beat Black Widow in a gunfight, but like I said, both extremely susceptible to being kicked in the face and obliterated. But one benefit that Daredevil does have is Black Widow can no longer hide. Daredevil can see her through walls, so that element of surprise is gone. No more sneaky Widow in the pocket. As Cart progresses to the end of first point, Black Widow is needed way less. Let me explain. Fight 1 is the only somewhat even fight in a game of Marvel Rivals. But because Crazy Raccoon won so fast and so convincingly, they had all the ults, and Citadel had none. GG's. So when Citadel came back from spawn and had the next fight, this is how it played out. NX on the Star-Lord opens up, gets a very nice kill on the enemy Psylocke. By this time, Alex had actually built up his ult to respond with an invis boundary, but like I said, it's extremely hard to overcome an ult deficit of 5 ultimates. Not only did Crazy Raccoon have a match with the Mantis ult, they actually have something that I like to call a kill ult. A kill ult is an ult like Doctor Strange's, or funnily enough, Wolverine, that can completely negate an enemy defensive ult. If you're not getting a kill with a kill ult, chances are it's a bad ult. JT3 doesn't do bad ults though, that's my goat. I would actually argue that Crazy Raccoons overcommitted ults in this fight, but hey, they won, so I guess it doesn't matter. Right now, the players on screen are waiting for the payload to go from point 1 to point 2, but you don't have to wait any longer before dropping me a like and a subscribe. It's a teeny tiny bit of effort, but it helps me so much. Going into the second point, I did want to briefly mention Crazy Raccoon's aggression. Look at the way the Black Widow holds this main sightline. Look at the way their Doctor Strange steps up onto the height. These are things that I guarantee nobody does in your ranked matches, but the intention here is quite simple. The enemy team are on highly mobile characters that use their resources to close proximity and stay on the enemy backline. So by holding this close, Crazy Raccoon are able to burn these resources from Citadel, which then in turn means that Citadel cannot take fights for long and have to leave before they reach that lethal status of a dive. It's a pretty genius cook from JMac, the Wolverine player who actually coaches the team. And it's funny because back when I was coaching FaZe, I had a very similar suggestion about that Black Widow character, but this is how the conversation played out. Going back to the gameplay, Citadel played second point quite well. They get a vital opening pick with this Psylocke ult onto the Mantis before Crazy Raccoon could place their res, but actually it played out perfectly. When it comes to close range comps like Citadel's, I use the word explosive. These engagements have to be explosive. In an ideal world, if they're not getting a kill or against Rocket, multiple kills instantaneously, they're going to struggle because eventually they have to leave the fight. But what's interesting is Black Widow is a character that can get explosive kills from a long range, which means even if her teammates are going down, she always has the potential to drag a fight back. And when I tell you the stars, the sun, the moon all aligned for the Rocket res to go towards this Black Widow, you may have seen in the video earlier as well, this is not the first time Rocket's res has gone for the Black Widow. With that being said, I wouldn't be surprised if that was part of JMac's strategy. As a Rocket main myself, I don't think you understand how difficult that is to pull off. And once again, the value was instantaneous. Just listen to what the casters had to say.
Letting the devil out in a matter of moments as Vital is finally held at bay, but the Rocket POV brings him right back into the fray. Freedom charges on the field, it runs out now for Polly, and that's going to be Vital coming over. The Black Widow fights the main! Stop it! Vital is absolutely unstoppable right now.
I'm telling you, I've casted a lot of games now over the last 6 months. I've not gotten to see Black Widow this far into spawn. Have you?
They are absolutely correct in saying we haven't seen Black Widow this far into this point. But what if I told you this patch, we've seen this comp most games. If we swap this Black Widow to a Phoenix, the comp is no longer interesting enough for me to even make a video on it. It's a standard Brawl comp, right? But Phoenix was never a Brawl character. Brawl by definition is low mobility and close proximity. Phoenix has neither of those things. And so why do we class Phoenix a Brawl character but not Black Widow? Well, put simply, it's the characters that play around the Phoenix making it a Brawl comp. And this gets super technical, so please stay with me for the last couple of minutes of this video. Brawl comps are often referred to as front to back comps. These are comps that kill the tank before they make their way to the backline. The opposite of dive, which often starts killing the backline then turning towards the tanks. Black Widow simply does not have the mobility to reach the backline, especially if shields or tanks are in front of her face. But thankfully, she has someone on her team that can remove a tank from the equation, both through a damage multiplier and pure displacement value. That sole Wolverine not only makes this comp a Brawl comp, but it also makes it one of the best Brawl comps in the game. The poke element having pick potential and the Brawl element having complete displacement value. I absolutely had to include that point in the video because it is a stray as someone in the community. But enough about my personal beef with the Brain Dead. The reason why we haven't seen Black Widow this far out of spawn is because she has an identity crisis. Even the smartest brains in the community don't realize her versatility. They see a map with 1 to 2 usable lanes and assume that we have to play something more standard, when actually some of the strongest metas that we had in Rivals were characters that don't fit the mold that were adapted for a specific win condition. I would love to tell you how Citadel countered this strategy, but I think Crazy Raccoons lost to themselves. As they capped second point, they actually swapped to the Ultron, something that plays for very similar fights with less pick potential. Yes, Ultron brings more sustain to the team comp, but relies too heavily on angles to be a direct replacement.